So forth, I don't know, are you a burn the tape type guy, or this a game where you go back and what your message was tonight? What was your message today? What are the teaching points for a performance like that?
Definitely not a burn the tape thought process at all. We've we've had a chance to go through it with the players. Turn the page to Miami. So that's what Growth Monday is for. I think it's important to stay in the consistent into the flow of going week to week. And frankly, I worry more about games where you play really well. I think handling success is a bigger challenge than getting punched in the mouth and responding. So yeah, we definitely went through a normal Monday.
Todd.
Mike, Todd Archer, and when you look back at the run defense, now that you had the time to look at it, what were the biggest issues you guys had?
The biggest issue was the tackling. We lost the tackling battle, and the two glaring statistical, the characteristics of our production success this year is winning the tackling battle and winning the big play, opportunity battle, and we lost both those battles significantly last night. So I mean, when you look at the year, we're 11 wins, 3 losses in both those areas, the tackling and the big play. So that's not our, that's not the norm. The norm for us is to win those, but we lost both those battles significantly last night. So they broke twice as many tackles. I think they had 12 broken tackles. We had only 6. So we're -6 there, and then we were -13 in the big play, which is a huge statistical area of production to overcome. But when you look at those things, we're I want to say plus 87 for the year in big plays and plus 90 in tackling. So that's definitely not to our standard. And those were the 2 biggest areas I felt that impacted the game.
Was this the first team that kind of took advantage of your size at linebacker, or used their strength over your speed?
I think more, once again, I think the more the opportunities, and I think looking at some of the playtime distribution, these are some of the things we talked about. How can we help in that area? But yeah, I mean, it's when you look at our defense the last 3 years, the run defense is going to be attacked because of the way way our strengths line up, because of the amount of pass rush that we have. So, and they attacked it. And then really the biggest thing for me from a team perspective, I thought we played poorly above the 2.3. They were clearly better than we were at the end of the play, over the course of the game in all 3 areas. So those are the things that we identify with.
John.
John Machota with The Athletic. Mike, why do you think that you guys have had so much success passing the ball the last couple of months and it didn't work in this game? Is it just everyone has an off day?
Well, I mean, it's a vision defense. Felt that going in. Similar game plan to, Arizona played us, out there early in the year. So you got to be cleaner. We weren't as clean as we like to be. But if you look at the down and distances, we were, our third down and distances were favorable, for the most part, and we all know how well we've been on third down for the year too. So, it was, you wanted to play in the rhythm. I think the ability to sustain drives was really the mindset going in. I went into the game expecting to go the long way. The shot play that we had on the second play of the game was something that we had on them, and it was there, and we didn't convert it. But we knew we weren't going to get too many opportunities to go over the top, just for the depth of their safeties and the way that they play. So, we needed to be extremely detailed and efficient, and to play in that type of game. And then, I thought the weather was great. We got a huge break in the weather the first half, but it did, it got a little wet there in the second half too. So, I mean, we just weren't where we needed to be.
When the weather was pretty good when the game started, and you guys won the toss, did you ever think about taking the ball just because?
I did. Talked about it. Yeah, absolutely. There's, the wind, and I just, it's part of playing in that part of the country. I mean, the wind at, whatever time I got there, 11 a.m. I was taking the ball. Then by the time we got out there for pregame, and just the way the wind shifted and everything, put me in more of a deferred mindset. And like I said, I think it clearly was the right thing to do because, especially the way the game went, having the potential extra series in the second half would have benefited us. So, but yeah, I didn't. Like I said, I think we got to, based on the weather forecast, and I know we were all watching it. I mean, the weather in the first half was tremendous. I thought we got a break there.
Sadi's at The Athletic. Mike, what do you feel like your team is kind of more built to play from ahead? And I know you just talked about the coin toss, but like even aside from that, do you need to really get ahead in order to be at your best at the start of the game?
No, I don't think so. I think we're way past that. I've coached younger teams. I've coached teams where you felt that way, because of some other characteristics of your team. But I mean, I think our productivity over the course of the year, speaks to a team that can win anywhere, any way, from ahead, from behind. So I don't think I think the way that they play, particularly in the ability to play in a winter climate, with them getting ahead definitely benefits them, more. But this thing started with running the football. We knew both teams were going to have to run the football and go the long way. 10+ play series and so forth, and they did it at a very high level, and we did not.
Newey?
Newey Scruggs, NBC5. Mike, 102 penalties for you guys this year.
I'm sorry.
You have 102 penalties this year. Yesterday, 5 of them, 3 of them were really killers there. At this point in the year, how come that's still an issue for you guys?
Well, the number of penalties I would live with. I think if you look at the numbers, if you're 5 or less, I mean, you're obviously in the top, 2 or 3 in the league at that per game. But yeah, the timing, the penalties were, and just like anything, we've had time to go look at them. Whether you agree with them or don't agree with them was irrelevant. But the timing of it was clearly tough, because they extended drives that eventually resulted in points. So we definitely got to be a bit more disciplined there.
At this point in the year, is that more on the players? Is that the coaches? How does that?
Well, I think it's not on it. It's on all of us. I mean, we got to be better in those spots. But it's the same thing. It's the play style and the discipline. That's the thing you're always trying to balance. You want to be aggressive. I mean, they called 5 personal fouls in the first half. So I think that shows you what kind of game it was, down there on the field. But for the most part, I don't know how many. I don't know how many they had. I know we had 6 called, 5. We had 5 that they used. So, but 3 more critical, no doubt.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. How's Zach feeling today?
Well, the report is, he'll definitely have a chance to play this week. So that's the outlook. But he was in there getting rehab today.
Talk about. I think last night you said you got to figure out why we're not playing the way we need to on the road. What have you figured out so far?
Did I say figure out?
No, I just figured out. I think he said he was trying to find.
Oh, I mean, I think it's obvious. I mean, I think there's definitely a gap between the way we're performing on the road compared to at home, without a question. So I think you got to look at those things, and there's some other things I'll look into, but we got to play better on the road. I mean, you can't get to where you want to go being a 500 team on the road. I mean, it's just, and you're not going to be playing playoff games at home with that record either. So it's definitely a focus for us.
Joe Trahan, WFA TV. Mike, this question is about mentality, because there were a few of the guys who talked about not playing with the right mentality in the locker room afterwards. As a coach of professionals, is that something that you have to handle a certain way to try and get the most out of them? Do you have to say anything? Absolutely.
No, I think the emotional and mental realm is where the gold is. There's nothing that we can't do physically. We've shown that. I mean, that's why when people refer to our football team as talented, I take it as an insult. We clearly understand the physical capabilities of our football team. It's documented. So, but the emotional and mental growth is where the really good teams turn into a great team. So, I mean, you're always working to develop that.
Was that a case of your team not being, I don't want to say mentally tough, but not being emotionally mature to try and handle the success that they had leading up to that week?
I get the narratives, and I respect everybody's approach and digging into it. We didn't play well at the end of plays. I mean, there's things that you emphasize each week, and when you play 11 out of 14 games at a very high level in two critical areas of production that you need to win, and then you don't play well, I don't, and that's why I think we talked about effort last night. I mean, it wasn't an effort issue; it was a finish issue. We weren't. That's when we break these plays down in the pre-snap to 2.3 and above the 2.3. It gives us a really good definition of things we want to work on, the specifics. The techniques within those realms and the detail of how it's teach and how our guys look at it. So we did not perform to our standard above the 2.3. So within that, there's a lot of production that came out of that. Whether it's them pushing for a first down, we call it bend backs. They won the bend back battle. We did not. That's part of the 2.3. Those are variations of things that we look at. So we'll clearly emphasize it like we do every week, and we need to be better because we've got a big challenge in front of us.
Was that the thought process? We talked extra earlier about the size of your linebacker. The thought process of using, in a game like that, using Mike at linebacker, he's done that before.
Definitely. But it's personnel groups, tendencies, all those things play into it. But, that's a very fair question. Yeah, absolutely.
Are teams taking advantage of your nickel defense? You got the speed on the field with their size and running the ball against your nickel?
Well, I would say it's, it was clearly their approach, but, you have to give, you got to give them some credit. I thought the runner was on fire last night. We had a hard time tackling him.
Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News. You mentioned all the things that the Bills have done or did well last night in terms of playing with 2.3, bend back, and so forth. Does it kind of reinforce some of your guys' messaging as a coaching staff and as a team? Because a lot of what they did right are the things that you guys each and every week try to do right. And that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to get to the other end of it. That's why it's so important to do it yourselves.
Well, yeah, but also, I don't want to take away credit from them. I mean, if you just, I understand what the record are, but I know the video I watched the last 4 or 5 weeks in particular, they, we felt they were playing at a very high level, and and they've lost some players too. So, as we know, when you lose a Trayvon Diggs, you lose Leighton. Sometimes it takes you a week or two to get things going. I think that's kind of what they've gone through. I think they're playing at a high level. So, and I felt we were playing at a high level too, coming off of Philadelphia, and we didn't play to our standard.
And is there ever a time as a coach when you get the red flag and you don't have the benefit of a review upstairs, or I'm going to blindly throw it because they're hurrying up to the line, and it would be a big call if it was to go in our direction?
Absolutely, we call it a blind challenge. There's definitely a time for it. But I think it's like anything. Just being in that position now for as long as I've been in it, you need information. There's different levels of information that you're looking for, whether it's to call the timeout or take the blind challenge. And frankly, just based off the information that I had in that moment, it didn't validate a timeout or a challenge. But that's our process. And clearly the benefit of it for them. His back was turned to our sideline, on their sideline. The reaction of players around, all those things. That's all part of information gathering. The information from the box, so the information from our sideline. So at that time, I didn't feel like I had enough information to call a timeout or to challenge. But we called it a blind challenge.
Just for clarity's sake, your people up in the booth, they only had the feed from TV, right, Mike? They didn't have any other.
Yes, absolutely. Our group did not have a replay. Yes.
Todd.
Mike, you said earlier that when people call you guys a talented team, you think that's an insult. Why is that an insult?
Because that's not what it's about. Everybody's talented in this league. And let's be honest here. You're talking about 68 players in a building. How many blue, red, green, orange, yellows? It's irrelevant. At the end of it, to me, there's a time to collect talent and keep. You're always trying to upgrade and with players, and I think we do a phenomenal job in that realm. But it's the connection and it's the emotional and mental development that gives you a chance to grow. I look at the way we played in week 1 or 2 compared to the way we played the last month. It's night and day, and that's a reflection of that, of the team growing emotionally and mentally. So I mean, there's fine motor skill, gross motor skill development in the physical realm, so we're always working on that. I think we do a really good job there, particularly with our young players. But the hardest part of this business is the emotional and the mental challenge.
And then on the road stuff again, you're big on schedules. Is the schedule that you look at, what you do, get in early, get in later, do something different at the team hotel? Those do you kind of look at everything?
Yeah, I really have. I think we spent a lot of time on it. I think it's clearly we've changed, over the last couple of years. I think it has helped us. I think we're in a good routine. I mean, we travel east, it's different than traveling west. And, that was an east game, and going east is a little more difficult than west. But, yeah, I think we're fine there. I mean, we need to play better on the road. It's east or west.
Cal.
We talk about the run defense. What did you think of your front?
Well, you could, this, yeah, but we're not passing on any game balls, this week. And so, whether it's the run blocking unit and their finish or the run defense in their tackling. So we clearly were below the line.
We talk about the road. Is it as simple as it's not so much changing the hotels when you get in? It's just we got to get something done on the field.
Yeah, we got to do what the Rangers do. It's to me. I think it's. I'll just say this: this team has responded pretty much every step of the way. So I do have great confidence that they'll respond to this challenge. And when we've laid things out in front of them, they've always taken to the coaching and the emphasis of it. And hey, this gauntlet of games is laid up nice for us, and this is an example of it. None of us feel good about what happened, in Buffalo yesterday. That's not who we are. That's as far as what we believe in our team. And hey, we've done the right things. We've given them credit, but same breath, this is a totally different challenge going to Miami. It's a different style of football team, and this will be another great road challenge. So. And you got to play better. You got to play better at this time of year, and that's what's disappointing when you have a performance like that in December.
Ivory Taylor, NBC5. As a coach and having been around coaches, sometimes you hear them say that the losses start to stick with you more than the wins. Is that something you can guard against, or is that just inherent with the position of coaching?
I think it's the life of a coach. Yeah, I think the longer you do this, the harder the losses get. No doubt. And I know it is for me personally.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.